All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to stream number 2. I know you guys are enjoying those commercials. We had to cut them off because we had this thing that we get to call League of Legends that we're going to be bringing to you with these two teams that are kind of good. I don't know if you've heard of them before. We have the CLG EU. Do you know who that is, Studio?
I don't know. I think they're from Europe. I know that much.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can understand them. And then we have Team Solo Mid.
That's kind of a weird name because you can't have everybody solo mid. They're all on a team. That's 5 people.
Isn't
That's
that
not soloing mid.
Isn't that ARAM?
Yeah. Oh, cool. Look at the ARAM match.
Oh, man.
Oh.
I bet D-Man's jealous of us right
He
now.
should be.
No, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be getting into Counter Logic Gaming Europe against Team Solo Mid. This, of course, is going to be the first of the best of 3 matches in the winner's bracket. We just saw TSM come up a very decisive victory against Singapore Sentinels, SGS. Dominated them 12-0. Now, fresh off of that one, you might think, like, oh, they have to play another match back-to-back. If I'm TSM, I'm probably in prime shape right now.
They're going off the hype train right now. They're just like dusting pieces of SGS because they blew them up so hard. Now they're just like, all right, CLG, we're going to take you guys on. We're going to wreck you.
You got a little chowie right here.
All
right, we got picks and bans. It's a little bad karma. Yeah. But we got picks and bans going down already. Diana, Olaf, and Darius being banned out from CLG EU. Lux not wanting Froggen to get that. Aurelia, as Darius was being quoted about 10 seconds ago on Twitter, telling Wicked he was going to ban Aurelia this time. And Wicked was like, no, Darius, please, no.
I just want to play Aurelia. I like her.
Is anything wrong with that? Yes, there's a lot wrong with that because you wind up winning when that happens. And Cho'Gath being banned out. So they're taking away a jungler, a mid laner, and a top laner. So on the flip side, 2 top laners or potentially a jungler, although I don't think I've seen Oddone play a whole lot of Olaf, and a mid laner from the side of CLG EU being banned out against TSM. But right out of the get-go, they're going to take Ezreal away from Chaos. I think Yellowpete's going to have a better time with that one, but that leaves open potentially a Skarner pickup, and Darius, of course, loving to play Rengar in that top lane.
So something I love about this matchup is that unlike other matchups between TSM and other, I'd say, foreign countries, CLG EU and TSM kind of know each other. I mean, they both play other North American servers right now, so they have a lot of interaction in solo queue. I don't know if they scrim that often, but they definitely have run into each other in tournaments too, so they have that history. They've met at MLG Anaheim for the first time, where TSM took it, I believe, 2-1. It was a very short squeak by. Like, they almost did not win the matches, but it was a hard set for CLG EU, and getting sent home by them, they wanted to get vengeance. I believe they did at some point, but
I believe it was, well, I don't think they actually played at MLG Dallas, but
no.
They were higher placed than TSM.
They did high place higher than, and TSM did not appreciate that, to say the least.
But like Wicked was saying, he finally gets to play against Darius in top lane in another tournament. It looks like he might be picking Shen into Rengar, which seems like a pretty good idea. Although Rengar, we've seen them being built very tanky a lot in this tournament. We saw M5 doing it. We've seen a lot of players doing it. The only one we did see that built a little bit more damaging was on Team Dynamic, and even he was a bit of a beast and just tanky in and of himself, even though they wound up losing that game. But I mean, we've seen Rengar in 1v2 situations. Same thing to be said about Shen, potentially hovering over the Lulu lock-in for their support pickup. Both these teams, like you said, they know each other so very, very well that they know they can pick these champions that are okay in matchups and kind of slam at each other and go into a brick wall, and they can get what they want.
Hey. Do you see who's not banned?
Anivia?
Anivia's not banned.
I don't know if TSM's really afraid of Anivia. I know that, of course, it's Froggen, it's Anivia. Are they going to pick Anivia? Is that going to be a really good idea? I mean, I think they're more worried about the Lux because of the range they had.
Yeah.
They saw that being played against CLG NA, and they saw how powerful it was. TSM wants to really jump on them. They're going to isolate people with Skarner. Rengar and now this potential Leona pickup are going to jump in and get on top of them. They get on top of Anivia, that's fine. You know, she's going to melt, she'll get egged. Maybe her ultimate will be there. That's going to be dealing a bit of damage. They can disengage from that. They could pull away someone like a Yellowpete onto that Ezreal, or pull someone away like Lulu and get them out of that engagement. Or potentially, Reginald might be able to pick a champion that might have a better matchup against Anivia. We've seen more of the assassin-type champions being played against her. Diana's banned out, but we still have a Katarina on the table.
There are definitely options. I think, like, TSM, they're waiting for the counter pick. They want someone that can either beat who they're up against in lane, or at least do really well. And Anivia is one of those weird characters where, yeah, she's effective, but is she going to be effective on every composition? Not necessarily. And the team CLG EU have right now, I mean, they've got someone that wants to go really aggressive, really far forward, not necessarily a team you want to kite with, which is what Anivia is really powerful at. This lock-in of Maokai and then Anivia follow-up, okay, they're going for the kite or the shutdown potential. They're not going to use Anivia to kite, they're going to use her to shut people down with the wall, with the slow coming out of Maokai and taunt coming out of Shen. Of course, Lulu's going to have her ultimate for extra CC. But if you look at TSM's team, they don't have the best escape options. I mean, Odd One on Skarner is going to have his shield, but that only provides move speed, and that won't get him over walls. He'll still be slowed quite a bit. The mobility comes out of Dyrus, but that's only offensive, and of course, Chaos is going to use Valkyrie to stay the hell back.
It's very true. Actually, looking at the lineup from CLGU, with the Maokai being picked up for the AoE damage with Vengeful Maelstrom, the lockdown with that Twisted Advance, Lulu Ultimate could be put in there as well, and they have a Shen Stand United. I was thinking they're actually going to be picking up Karthus, which would have been a really good acquisition here. But as you said, they're going to be looking to take people out, not prolong these team engagements, and get a lot of AoE damage down. And Nivea, of course, she can deal the AoE damage. She can also nuke down targets if she needs to. So that's a very good pickup, and it's frogging on a Nivea, so that means we're definitely going to be in for a good show. But it's now all up to Special to pick that mid laner for Reginald.
Come on, Malzahar.
Is he going to go? I don't think he's going to go Malzahar.
Come on, Malzahar. I know he's not going to go Malzahar.
I mean, potentially I could see Reginald picking up Morgana. That wouldn't necessarily be a bad choice. She can farm a little bit earlier, or the Katarina that we were talking about earlier. So Katarina being locked in, he's going to be going to kill Anivia before Anivia can hit level 6 and get farmed. However, you pick a Katarina into a Maokai jungler, you're probably going to have Odd One somewhere around the mid lane, but he's not going to be as effective early on as Snoop is with that Twisted Advance.
So when it comes to laning Katarina versus Anivia, it's very hard for her to be aggressive unless Froggen misses his skill shot. If Flash Frost is up, Froggen will land it at point blank range against Reginald. I mean, if not though, if Reginald does go in, he can do a lot of damage very quickly, and it's very hard for Froggen to deal with. Once he hits level 6, if he can apply pressure, if Froggen ever misses a Flash Frost, he might be in for a world of pain.
Well, if Froggen ever misses a Flash Frost.
Which might not happen legitimately. It's not the most common occurrence, but it does happen, and it's going to be up to Original to bait it out.
And so we're going to have to see here. Like we talked about, I mean, CLG EU, we've already talked about their comp. They have the Shen Stand United. They have Maokai to go in with the Twisted Advance. If Maokai goes in with the Twisted Advance, they have the Lulu Ultimate to follow up. They need that crowd control to keep everybody inside of that Anivia Ultimate. If not, then they have that to save a target that's going to be getting very low. They have the Shen Shield to save a target that's going to be getting very low in these team fights. TSM, they're going to want to jump on people. Skarner's going to isolate someone with his Impale. Rengar is going to use his ultimate to get that extra leap and the stealthiness to set up the engage for TSM. Even Corki could potentially Valkyrie forward, although he might be using that to retreat. But Katarina and Leona, they want to get into the fray. This CLG EU composition with the Anivia putting the wall down, with the slows going down, making sure that they're not able to really get back onto them, this could be potentially dangerous for TSM if they don't win their lanes.
It's going to be a weird situation because TSM, they can dive in there, they can be aggressive, they can be in your face, and that's how they want to play this. If CLGU goes aggressive, goes for the offense, chances are they're going to have a really good setup with the Anivia wall and can really split off TSM. But if TSM is being aggressive, if they have the power to use the Rengar ultimate to dive in there, if they can really just get through Shen and his shield, keeping people alive, they can win a fight. Once they get ahead, if they can stay ahead really easily, but they have to get there first. It's going to be up to Rengar to get tanky enough to survive damage. It's going to be up to Xpecial to be tanky enough to get in there and just take blows. And that's going to be the big deal. Eventually, Reginald will join the fight. Try and get the reset. Eventually, KX will be able to Valkyrie aggressively or just go aggressively towards the enemy team, which is scary to him still. And if they can get aggressive, if they can survive getting through Anivia and her kiting potential, that's going to be huge.
So we're going to have to see if TSM is going to be able to do so. As you mentioned before, the early game is where TSM is going to want to start trying to win and start trying to snowball a bit forward. But if the game stalls on, well, it's CLG EU. We all know the fact that CLG EU is going to want to try to take it to the late game. But level 1 engagements, let's take a look at this across the board, Studio. Who do you think has the upper hand? Oh, just right out of the get-go.
It is CLG. They have Shen with his taunt. They have Froggen with Flash Frost. They have Crepo with a Glitter Lance, a fantastic slow. They will win almost any level 1.
We're going to have to see if that is what they do. We did see this stack up against CLG NA. Same exact thing. Double Lift is in this situation. Now Chaos is over here. TSM potentially going for that lane swap as well. Actually going to get landed on with the Flash Frost. Has the Valkyrie away. Wicked not being able to land the taunt, however. So Chaos might be able to get out of this one. Still has his Flash available just in case they wind up landing another Flash Frost or taunt onto him. But he is going to get out of there. But he's taking a hefty sum of damage. Now TSM, they try to engage. It's going to be a 4v5. That's not where they want to be. So they are going to have to wisely back away from this. Cede a little bit of control through their jungle, but they do have this ward down to know where CLG EU is going to move after this.
CLG EU actually had a ward, I believe, onto TSM. No, they did not. So they just placed their own ward. They suspected ward. They were using that, pro player premonition. And, well, they don't blow anything. They do force KX to use the Valkyrie at level 1. They may have spotted a possible lane transition, and looking at Dyrus positioning, yeah, it's going to be a 2v1 top lane, unless they send Crepo and Yellow feet up top, which it looks like just because they're still there, so it's going to be 2v2 top lanes. So it's going to be hard to deal with. Both lanes very aggressive. If X Special can't land a Zenith Blade, it's going to be really hard for him to keep up. That's going to be the big problem for TSM. But if X Special does land a Zenith Blade, and Yellow P doesn't get an Arcane Shift, they want to crap out, they can definitely win those early fights.
So we did actually have, looks like the raids being taken away by Chaos and X Special. Are they actually going to be taking those double golems as well? No, they're going to be walking past those. So both junglers getting started on their blue buffs. Odd1 actually getting his blue buff. Snoopy doing the same exact thing. Potentially going to be going, no, he's actually going to be putting a sapling over the wall for a bit of a ward there so you can see anybody. Not deciding to do that after all. I don't know. Perhaps I'm just talking nonsense.
He saw the ward go down from TSM, decided, well, I don't really need to do this. I know where they are because that's where X Special has to be.
So we're going to have to see. Stipa is still motioning around. The ping's going on. Are they going to be able to still contest this red buff from TSM? Skarner waiting in the brush. They saw him go over there. Stipa throws the sapling. Odd1 definitely sees something going on there, so he's not going to be taking that red buff anytime soon. Although they do have, you know, Reginald in the mid lane still spotting for this. Stipa realizing that those raids are gone. You might be a little bit confused about that. Raids actually respawn as soon as I say that, though. So he's going to be trying to take these away from Skarner, while Odd1 wrapping around the backside is going to get in here. Reginald's going to come in as well, but Katarina at a very low level might not have the most damage in the world, so he lands a bouncy blade, flashes forward actually it's a Shumpo forward, picks that one up at level 2, but Odd1 eats a flash frost from Frog, and he's 2 for 2 so far, Studio, doesn't miss them, and Stupe is going to be able to get out of there and secure his own blue buff instead.
Kind of a big deal, Odd1 using his flash there. I mean, Skarner doesn't have the best ganks level 1, or before level 6, but they're still relatively effective. That really cuts down on his ganking potential. I mean, top lane, he's going to have get out of range, Quicken has his taunt. There aren't a lot of options for him to gank, so not having that flash is going to be a huge deal. Still though, they apply some pressure, they force Snoopy to go ahead and stay in his own jungle for a bit, lose a bit of time CSing, but nothing really accomplished though. I don't know, I really don't like the Odd1's flashes on cooldown.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Skarner not going to be able to apply a lot of pressure early on regardless of the fact. He's going to be more of like a level 6 and later ganker with that Impale, or just a team fighter altogether, but he's going to, with that flash down, he can't really apply any pressure whatsoever. And as we were talking about, with Reginald being Katarina in the middle lane against Snoopy's Maokai, and that Anivia, you know, the flash process from Frog, and if he doesn't miss any of them ever, Katarina's going to be in a very, very bad spot. Speaking of bad spots, the Dyrus in the bottom lane here, going to be going in. Snoopy and Wicked trying to double team it. Is he going to wind up going down? He's so close to dead, but he's not going to die there. Red buff not being able to take away nearly enough HP, and don't think either of them have Ignite. Wicked actually running.
Wicked.
Yeah, Wicked. He's actually picking heal, so that's
He's been doing that a lot lately. I think he
Dyrus actually heal as well,
yeah.
So they actually had to burn Dyrus' heal, so both of his summoner spells are down. Dyrus sticks around at all, trying to sustain off of that roar. He's going to be in a really, really bad spot. Even if he goes back, though, with both those summoners down, he's still going to be highly gankable for the next couple minutes.
Which is why Snoop and Wicked are camping now. They're looking for the kill onto him. Are they going to go for this dive? No, they just want to force him to retreat, waste his time a bit. Now they can try and push the creep into the turret, make it so he'll miss that CS. I'm going to take his time to go ahead counter jungle, steals a big blue Wraith. Gonna go ahead, strut on out of there with his very, very nice Skarner style. But I mean, there's still bot lane actually. Dyrus being pinged onto. He's gonna try and hold this turret. He's gonna try and get this CS. I think that's always helped they can fight.
No, Odd1 still is only level 3. Both the members of CLG EU on the bottom lane level 4, and Dyrus is extremely low. So with Odd1's presence here, though, it is enough to force Snipe back and out. Meanwhile, in mid lane, Reginald 34 CS compared to 22 on his side. So Froggen with that Anivia getting a CS advantage early in the game, despite the fact that Katarina early on, she clears ways a lot better than a ulti-less Froggen Anivia. See a quick little Shunpo from Reginald, just getting a little bit of cute damage back onto him there, poking away at Froggen every chance he gets, and this might be why he's actually behind in CS. He's trying to harass Froggen's Anivia and get him down and burn that egg for him as soon as possible before that blue buff respawns and he can get it. So he's going to be a bit more fragile, not be so forward and pushing with that Anivia strategy. If Reginald's able to burn the egg, he's got to play a little bit more careful, because if you wind up dying with that blue buff, that's a huge waste on Anivia.
The unfortunate thing is, because they know Skarner doesn't have flash, they're just not worried about the jungle presence. That wall will stop him. And Froggen, he hasn't been using his wall, though he is low on mana, won't have enough to cast that in a Flash Frost right now. But overall, his plan has been just, you know what, I can kind of maintain CS mid lane. Even if I'm getting poked down, it's okay, because in the end, I'm going to hit level 6. At that point, every time Katarina just goes for a poke, I can trade with a Glacial Storm into a Frostbite. I can deal a lot of damage, and it's not really avoidable for Katarina. So the lane will be evening it out, but of course Katarina got to be hitting level 6 and have her own really strong wave clear. This is going to turn into a passive farming lane.
I think so. It's Remont's Beginner's Farm all throughout the rest of the map. We see Wicked, interestingly enough, going for a double null magic mantle right out of the get-go. So he's just nerfing down the potential magic damage that Katarina can do. So if Katarina decides to roam into that bottom lane, he's not going to hurt nearly as much as he would want to. So 32 CS compared to 26 of Dyrus. Even in the jungle, Odd One just barely CSing ahead of Snoopy. 23 compared to 21 now that he's taken some farm in that mid lane. Top lane though, 47 compared to 44, relatively even. The only real big disparity still is that mid lane where Anivia, pre-level 6, taking a 46 CS advantage compared to 38 of Katarina, actually going back for a second time there.
What did he pick up? Look at this potions and wards. I mean, the harass from Reginald is pretty strong right now, so if he's not confident, he's going to go back a lot. Of course, he has the wave clear. He can definitely take race very easily from either side. This is going to keep him relevant throughout the game, even if he does go back to base quite often. Actually, Reginald heading towards that top lane. He's going on to Crepo, but those are from CLG EU. They do spawn with ward. Is there a fight going on?
It looks like Crepo's getting engaged on by Chaos and Special. There's the Zenith Blade connecting. Stun goes off from Leona as well as the shield pop, and Crepo getting extremely low. Reginald, as you mentioned, has roamed up here. Decides to Shumbo in on the yellow. He takes a tower shot for his efforts, kind of losing half of his HP there. I thought this was a ploy just to try to get them off of that blue buff, but in the meantime, Stupe and Froggen secure that for Anivia, so he's going to have that blue buff to sit back and farm, and Reginald, unfortunately, going to come back to lane and have a very hard time against that Anivia now.
They could be trying to force some pressure on a top lane. Chaos almost level 6, same with X-Special. I mean, once X-Special hits level 6, if someone like Crepo doesn't have their flash up, they can die very, very easily. So that can be the focus, making sure they don't have those summoners up, so when the fight does come, they can definitely get those kills. Yellow Pete, he's never really going to be killable for Leon. Unfortunately, arcane shifts make it so that Zenith Blade is dodgeable. You can actually get hit by a Zenith Blade, still arcane shift, and kind of get out of it.
Mid lane though, we see Snoopy coming in, twisted advance from behind. Froggen taking the tower, still has his egg farm up, not afraid to take those shots, and first blood goes to Froggen. That's not something you want to hear when you also realize that he's playing Anivia.
Oh, here comes the FL. Oh, he actually flashes out of it last second he possibly can. Odd One not feeling too great right now, but he does at least get a flash in response, and you're right. I mean, Katarina going down, chances are Froggen's going to take this chance to get even meaner, become a bigger bully, kind of shove Reginald around on the shoulder, and just really punish him for being a melee character. Katarina's going to have her wave clear, yes, but he's only level 6. Froggen's, I believe, level 8 right now. And it's just going to be tough to maintain that lane. Bot lane, how's it going? Looks like 53 S to 50 CS, both of them kind of farming passively. The threat of the jungle and of course, Wicked, he has decent sustain and he has feint to take damage. Dyrus has a lot of sustain, and Wicked going for those 2 null magic mantles because Dyrus is maxing out the world first on Rengar, which does magic damage. So a smart build, just kind of anticipating what's being done to him and just trying to avoid it as much as possible.
So we did have first blood going on to Anivia in the mid lane, so she's going to be keeping up that CS advantage. 71 now compared to the 49 of Reginald's Katarina. He's going for pieces of a Haunting, guys, though, but Froggen with so much sustain, so much HP, magic resistance galore as well. So he's picked up that Chalice of Harmony, now going for pieces for a Catalyst that protect her. So he's in a very, very good spot. Odd One in the meantime is in a spot to potentially gank down onto Wicked, but he's going to be a very beefy target to try to gank. Still has that Summoner heal available, has his flash up. Dyrus in the meantime though has gotten both of his Summoner spells back as well. So are they going to dive this tower onto Wicked? Are they going to try to shove the lane out and make it push back and let Odd One gank here? I don't know, but he's wasted an awful lot of time just chilling here.
And this is such a hard gank to get off too. How do you gank Shen? I mean, now would be the time, now that Todd's down. They can at least try and force a flash, but it's not going to happen underneath the turret. They cannot go for that fight.
And then Wicked's not buying it. He knows that something is up. He smells it, and he's not going to let anything happen there. Reginald actually being the one to follow Anivia as she looks to be coming into that top lane there. Maybe apply a little bit of pressure. Going around the long way, though. Chaos and X-Special back push a little bit further towards their turret, though, so I don't exactly know. Maybe Anivia's going to be going in through for a lane gank. We do see Froggen kind of waiting patiently here. Gonna flap his way in there, and I don't think that TSM was able to see him whatsoever. If he gets a wall off or something, if they're able to burn the Valkyrie from Corki, that is gonna be a very, very good chance of them to pick up a kill.
But no flash up.
Chaos actually used the rocket there and wound up hitting Froggen in the brusher. Knows exactly what's up. Froggen in the meantime gonna lane tag Yellow Pea, take away all that farm for himself, and we're gonna see what they do now.
At the same time, Froggen's saying, look, I didn't come here for nothing. This CS is mine. Let me just... Okay, he's got it all.
Well, because of that, now Chaos is 8 CS ahead of Yellow Pete when they're relatively even up until this point. So Froggen, though, 90 CS compared to the 72 of Reginald, so he's continuing to dominate Katarina, not only by picking up that first blood, but in the CS as well.
And of course, well, some of it was taken from Yellow Pete. 4-man quick push on the mid, though. This turret's going to be going down fairly quickly. What defense comes up from TSM? Nothing. It's only Reginald, it's only Odd One. Yeah, they got nothing for this.
So it looks like CLG EU being the first ones to apply a little pressure on the TSM, take that tower away. Might want want to transition down towards Dragon. It could be a bit of a weird gesture, though, because we do actually have, well, actually 2 members of CLG still in the top lane that might try to push this down in response to that, but a tower and a Dragon's a lot better than just a tower, so they're going to want to pick this one up. I thought maybe it was going to be a hard to contest, and CLG might be able to fight TSM here because Rengar still had that lane one up, and actually Shen had to go back a little bit, but no, CLG EU going to take an uncontested Dragon. TSM might be content to try to get this tower down, but it's still at about half HP, but Yellow Pete and Krepo don't look to be in a hurry to go there, so they're going to secure the Dragon, secure the mid tower, and trade it for the top tower and still come out ahead.
It will lose a turret. Yeah, it's going to go down for sure at this point. Not much can really do to hold it. And they're kind of okay with this because they can go top lane. Now they don't have to worry about Dragon. That's the big thing when you have a 2-1 top lane. You lose a lot of Dragon play. Obviously, Baron, an important objective, not going to be relevant to the first 15 minutes of the game, though. So they got the Dragon control, like they have Dragon. Now it's not really an objective to worry about. And now at this point, they're going to safely farm the top lane. They've taken out mid turret too, so Anivia can push that hard, roam a lot, and really punish Reginald if he stays in that lane to farm.
Not to mention the fact that, okay, well, now that TSM's taken that tower down, they might be potentially looking to go for that lane swap. It means that Dyrus is going to wind up going in a top lane, and Yellow Pete and Krepo are going to be content just to freeze that lane, farm it up, A-okay, and just continue to stay that way. With that mid tower down, if they do eventually decide to unfreeze that lane and then 1v2 against Rengar, push that tower down, that's going to transition perfectly, as you said, into the later stage of the game for that Baron control, whereas TSM, the Dragon's already gone. CLG EU took it. So if TSM go down to pressure this tower, put the farmers in the bottom lane, and then take this tower in addition to getting some CS, they have no real objective to contest. They do go for Dragon on the respawn. Baron's going to be up by that time. CLG EU could probably take that early, but looks like TSM afterwards, they're just going to send Corki top lane.
Wicked's going to be what the hell are you doing, Dyrus?
Dyrus is just demonstrating what Rengar does.
He's trying to get them so close to the push. Oh, X Special can land the ultimate. Oh, they can get the root. Dyrus can try to land the root. They're so close to getting this gank off. Wicked just has to take one more aggressive step, but he knows this. He's just teetering the line. He's taunting them, just going back and forth. Where's the slash to left? Where's the joke?
Wicked knows that something is up, and there goes Adwan popping the armor, a flash away, but he's actually going to get rooted down. There's the Impale. Now TSM might be in a good spot. Leona comes with the Zenith Blade. Didn't get the stun down on Wicked, though. So a little bit of a misstep there from TSM. They're not going to be able to pick up the kill, and they burned a lot of spells in order to do that.
Well, in the end, I guess it was a flash.
Oh, they're not giving up, though. Adwan with the red buff taking on Crystalline, Slash is going down. Wicked now, Reginald coming in from the side as well. There goes the Death Lotus. Leona ultimate is now burned. Wicked being able to taunt out of that one, though, and still more spells being burned. They're not going to pick up a kill. They are going to get this tower. Top lane, though, Chaos in a little bit of a tough spot as he is in a 2v1, but looks like Krepo and Yellow Pete are actually not applying too much pressure down there. So TSM going to go back and recall after taking down that tower. Dyrus actually stupid. He was going up to stop the recall. He wasn't actually going to hit him. Dyrus used his own roar to stop that, so a little bit of shenanigans going on.
Actually, Yellow Pete taking a lot of damage top lane, but he's just taking the turret, trying to whittle it down. This is the problem with TSM's aggression. Alright, so they did a lot of damage. We could actually use the ultimate in the top lane and go ahead and protect Yellow Pete. But they did take bot turret, didn't get any kills, and in response, CLG EU took that top turret. That was a great play from CLG. TSM, they actually did really well. They almost killed Wicked, which is really impressive. This diving Shen like that is incredibly difficult.
Well, they almost killed Wicked, but they burned two or three ultimates and two flashes.
A lot went down to try and take him out. And they actually really abused the fact that he just did not have the energy to taunt. But still, it's tower for tower. It's only Wicked Summoners down now. They're still relevant. They're still really scary. And looking over at TSM, they have Flash, Onyx Special, Flash, and Dyrus. And that's not going to be enough to win a team fight at this point.
No, but they are content to sit back and farm a little bit. They are only about 2,000 gold behind. One kill, which is First Blood, separates them in kill score. Two towers, both acquired by both sides. So it's like a Lord of the Rings movie or something. Froggen, though, running in here with that blue buff takeaway is actually going to find Reginald and Adwan. Adwan does not have the Impale available, though. Actually, he does have the Impale available now. No, he couldn't get it there. As Froggen barely getting out by the skin of his teeth. Reginald had burned the Death Lotus, so he's not going to have that for the DPS if they so decide to engage EU on this mid lane. Froggen is going to have to go back, though. They're not actually going to go for this mid turret, though. They want to potentially try to contest Dragon, maybe even pings down going on to Yellow Pete to get the heck out of there because TSM's in the area. But no Dragon still available as CLG EU took that one, and TSM really just not going to get anything after burning all that stuff on Anivia.
It's okay. They did get the flash, and in the end, they didn't really use that much. It was Katarina's ultimate, which has such a short cooldown. It's okay to use it. Use it aggressively. Use it to get other skills that have longer cooldowns really burned. And the L1 didn't get the kill, so he still has that available. Still use that offense. Froggen, that's kind of how you have to gank Anivia. You have to burn a lot. If she has flash available, put down the wall, put down a Glacial Storm, and usually escape no matter what. Maybe if she's low enough, maybe you can burst it down, but usually if that's the case, then, well, it's kind of maybe making a mistake rather than you kind of outplaying her. Froggen does not make that major mistakes.
No, he does not. So we do have Crepo, Yellow Pete, and Stupe walking around. Both junglers have acquired an Oracle's Elixir. Stupe going for Mercury Treads, finding Odd One. Odd One just kind of face checking into him there. Chaos Valkyring away, but the Twisted Advance landed, so Stupe follows after him there. Anivia Wall comes down there, blocking all Chaos. He can't get over there. He doesn't want to burn the flash right away. Going in on Stupe. The rest of CLG EU shows up, wants to take it on Reginald. Yellow Pete's going to wind up netting that kill. Chaos now in a desperate attempt to try to get away. Does he have the Valkyrie available? His Valkyrie's still on cooldown. He's going to get bursted down, and Froggen's the one to pick it up that kill, and that is CLG EU taking 2 quick kills from TSM back to back, taking away this red buff, and they are in good position to even contest Triving Baron.
Dyrus, though, he's in the area, he's got his ultimate full HP, he could try and go aggressive. Looks like he's not going to go for that play. I mean, CLG EU, they're up 3 kills, but they're up 3,000 gold. They're in a good position. They're kind of dominating these team fights. Like, the flow of the game, they may not have the biggest gold advantage at this point, but the flow feels like it's in their control. And it's because TSM, I mean, they couldn't kill Froggen fast enough. He was tanking the turret there. He was tanking Katarina and the turret, being impaled in there by the Odd One. But he did not die. He did a decent amount of damage, but they survived for way too long. That's what's here.
And the worst part about everything is taking a look at Anivia, the rebirth wasn't even burned in that engagement. So that is just a testament to how good Froggen is at surviving as the Cryo Phoenix. Not to mention the fact that he still has actually popped his egg form all game. TSM are going to go in here and try to take this dragon away. Stupe flashing forward, wanted to smite that one down, but Oddman's going to secure. Twisted Advance forward as they realize they've already gone in. There's the Standing United coming out from Wicked. He's going to come up on here. Oddman's in a pretty bad spot. Has the Oracle's Elixir. True Shot Barrage from Yellow Pete's going to go across. There is the ultimate from Leona to try to stop CLG EU's advance. Dyrus getting turned into a cute little kitty cat, and he's going to get Twisted Advance, knocked up everything. He has to flash over that wall. He got Ignite ticking down on him. Is the Sapling Ignite going to get it? No, he has to actually, he mentioned that he's going to use the ultimate, heal himself up, and get away. So TSM barely getting out of that dragon pit with their lives, in addition to taking down the beast, closing the gold gap to only about 2,000, 2,200.
And it's nice, but that fight was initiated just by Snoop and Wicked. And that is just the damage being dealt by all of EU at this point. Maokai does a decent amount of damage on his own. Wicked has that wit sense. He does a lot more than he got it. Might be going for a Triforce next, but I mean, this is just getting scarier and scarier for TSM. They did take up Dragon, but because he took so much damage getting chased out of the pit, they do lose a turret in response. Same goal difference, but less and less map control for TSM as turrets keep going down, keep pushing up. They're just going to have less vision. And that's where we see setups like we saw before, where Chaos gets trapped in corner by Anivia, or Alwan's being chased out the jungle because guess what? They're all there to kill him. And that's really the way that CLG is going to be playing this. When that wall goes down, if TSM is not prepared, if TSM does not have anything to go around Crystallize, they're dead. Or their flash is burned. Which, you know what? That might set up a kill minutes later. And that's how CLG plays. They go for the long term. Even if it's just burning a flash, they know that might be a kill 2 minutes from now. It does not matter. They know it'll happen in the future, though.
We did see Chaos in that top lane just pushing away, firing himself up. Pieces of a Trinity Force have been acquired except for the Zeal. Reginald getting caught up by that wall, has to use his flash to go over that one and then Chunpo to a minion. So Reginald being caught up. There's that flash burn, like you said. CLGU continued to take these small little victories and snowballed them into a good size advantage. Now about 2,500 gold ahead of TSM. We were talking about the items that Corki has acquired. Pieces for a Trinity Force, not yet acquired the Zeal or the recipe cost though. Meanwhile, Yellow Pete's Ezreal has gotten a Bloodthirster farm already. I've been taking so much damage from Anivia being trapped once again with those walls. And TSM just needs to scuttle or walk or fly around those walls because they just don't want to burn those flashes. Dyrus has his ultimate off. There's the ultimate from Leona. Flash away from Yellow Pete or Crepo. That's going to be, you know, another ultimate burn for another engagement. So it's going to be a very, very difficult thing for TSM to do.
Dyrus does have a Kindle Gem and Brutalizer, level 2 ultimate for Rengar. It's still decently long, but with the CDR should be up relatively soon. They did still run a flash for Crepo, that's important. But in the end, that'd be going for Crepo. Crepo is not the one who needs to die. Crepo can just get one wave of spells off in this fight, and he's been very effective, and he knows it. If he does get focused down in a team fight, if they do use Rengar's jump on it, if they do use, God forbid, the Odd One's pull, that's going to be a lost fight for TSM. They have to go for Yellow Pete over Froggen. See, right now it's looking like Froggen just because he's got 205 CS, most in the game, 201 most kills in the game. His team has gotten more of the objectives, has got more turrets down, so he's just got more gold cut in his name. And now he's got a ridiculously large rod. He's going for that death cap, and that's going to be a big deal. Once that comes out, TSM, they gotta play safe. They gotta make sure that they don't get hit by a frostbite, because they might just die from that. It's gonna be Original getting 2 shots. It's gonna be Chaos getting hit by a Flash Frost into a Frostbite, into a Glacial Storm, into an Ignite, and dying just from that.
And we already saw how much the TSM was getting caught up by those walls from Anivia on top of those Glacial Storms, and then the Frostbites connecting for that extra critical strike damage, and how low it was already taken. We saw Ottawa dropping extremely low from one full combo from Anivia already. That Death Cast, like you said, going to push them over the edge. She's going to want to take down people in just 1 shot or 2 from her combo. So very precarious position for TSM. As we mentioned before in Champion Select and towards the early stages of the game, they needed to win their lanes. They needed to have an early game advantage. That's why they went for that lane swap. Because of the level 1 invasion from CLG EU, they sniffed it out. They followed up with a lane swap, and they've just been able to win their lanes regardless of the fact. Chaos does have a little bit more farm than Yellow Pete, but Yellow Pete has a kill and an assist, so he's pretty much even in the goal. We even take a look over here, 6.7k compared to 6.6k. He's actually slightly ahead of Chaos because of that. So even though Chaos may have won at the lane in CS, he's not doing the best job in the world keeping up with Yellow Pete items-wise. Finally, he acquired his Trinity Force, but now there's a phase on the side of, on top of a Bloodthirster for Yellow Pete. Reginald, we already saw him in the mid lane getting torn apart by Anivia when he should have been killing Anivia just because, well, it's frogging on Anivia. Dyrus, in the meantime, against Shin, he stayed relatively even with him, but both of them not really going for a tanky style build. Now Dyrus has acquired that Giant's Belt, potentially going to be going for something like a Sunfire Cape or Warmog's armor to get a little bit more beefiness. Even on the side of Shen, going for the damage uniting on Wit's End first, then going for a Randuin Zomin. The time for TSM to be aggressive and win out in teamfights is slowly coming to a close, and that's just CLG's time. CLG EU's time is, I mean, it's the late game.
Better.
And that's it.
And here's the thing. Okay, so you got Dyrus. He's going to be initiating. He's going to be very aggressive. But if they get a GA on someone like Yellow Pete, because he's going for a tanky Rengar instead of DPS Rengar, though he does have a Bone Tooth Necklace and Brutalizer, which you don't normally see that often on the tankier Rengar. So it's kind of like hybrid, half and half. He's going to have trouble surviving once the GA is blown on someone like Yellow Pete. He might be able to get the GA very quickly, but if the fight continues on afterwards, he'll probably die before he can get that second kill, before he gets the real kill. And that's the scary part when you have so many assassin characters. Oh, Froggen might be in a bad position.
No, he's got most of his team behind him.
There. Just kind of awkward. He was in front, but he did have time to retreat. TSM, they're looking for this fight, but Wicked, he's got his ultimate up. He could stand Unite.
Yeah, Shen's ultimate could come down at any point in time. Reginald has popped an Elixir of Fortitude, trying to get a little bit of extra HP so he doesn't get bursted down instantaneously. Dragon could potentially be spawning anytime soon. There it is, pops up right then and there. TSM, they're going to try to bait this one out, push towards the mid lane. Dyer's going to lead the pack here. Kind of what they want, though, between Skarner and Rengar. Those are the 2 tanky champions they have on their team. They want them to absorb the damage and try to absorb one of those twisted events. Who's splitting off to chase after Dyrus? That's going to let Froggen out in the open. He gets Egg almost immediately. Leona ultimate did go down, as well as Zenda playing the stun. They're trying to take down the Egg of Frog, but they're not dealing enough damage. Lulu ultimate goes off after that. There's a very big bird. Actually, the big Egg is wears off after that one. Dyrus going to be able to pick up a kill on Lulu. Katarina finally going to finish off Anivia. However, Snoopy going to clean up on Katarina. Yellow Pete gets himself a kill. Now Ezreal is farming away at TSM's champions. Dyrus being chased after flashes and arcane shifts going down all over the place. And that is CLG EU. They lost 2, they killed 4, and they're setting their sights at the top lane towards Baron.
And I mean, TSM, they had the initiation onto Froggen. They could not do enough damage. The ultimate coming out from Wicked, the ultimate from Prepo, the shield from Prepo, and even just that stupid having that E just providing so much extra defense. That Egg, that was the tankiest Egg I've ever seen fight. Well, Froggen, he doesn't have any tank at us. He doesn't have a lot of HP. He provides a lot of HP. It's not like he built Warmog like he did in the past. So, I mean, TSM, they just didn't have the damage. They didn't have the items. That was just being short gold, and that's so important to see because their initiation, it was so damn good.
They got the team fight that they wanted. They had the positioning. Even Rengar split off into a bush. He was able to jump back into the fight afterwards, despite splitting off and kind of luring away members of CLG EU. As they take this Baron down with only 3 of them, TSM has no response because everybody was still dead and reviving. They got the engage they wanted to, but as we were talking about, it was just too late. CLG EU is just too tanky. Froggen's Anivia just egged, and then the Egg eventually died as Katarina went after, but he lived through the rebirth of the Egg. He had the Shen shield, he had the Lulu ultimate. There's just too much stuff from CLGU keeping him alive, and TSM aren't able to assassinate who they want to. We can get a little bit ballsy here trying to taunt down onto Dyrus. Dyrus going to leap back up and then realize that, hey, CLGU has a Baron buff and can't really get aggressive on them. 7 kills to 2, 7k gold advantage, and CLGU now just bullying TSM in this mid lane.
They're beating up these nerds who are taking their lunch money. It's
No.
it's gonna be hard for TSM.
Terrible
to come back.
flashbacks now from middle school.
I went to an art school, so I did not have that ever.
Lucky you.
Nothing ever close to that. But I mean, looking at it now, it's just, what do you do as TSM? They need their catches. Actually, as weird as it sounds, even though CLG EU has a Baron buff, their best time to fight is right now, this very second, this Dragon. They have to fight. They have ultimate their ultimate stuff. The more important, the most important thing of all, Froggen does not have Rebirth, but they're not going to go for this fight. It is risky. I mean, they are behind and will down behind in the Baron. It's going to be hard for them to fight.
Darius is tanking that tower. Now there goes the Shirelia's Reverie from CLG EU. Snube wants to catch a twisted advance onto somebody. There's the wall coming down from Froggen. He's not going to be able to catch Chaos as he does have the Valkyrie available to him this time, so he will wind up going over the wall and out of danger's way. But still, that CLG EU engaged, like you said, if they caught TSM there, TSM wanted to fight, but they didn't have the prime positioning. Of course, it's going to be a terrible fight because CLG EU took Dragon, they have Baron, they are ahead of them in items and everything. But as you mentioned, Froggen's Rebirth is down. They catch him out like they did last time. He won't revive.
He will actually die.
Yeah, he'll just actually die. He won't have those shields. He won't have the damage to just help out in that team fight, and he won't be able to be that egg tank, basically, that they had last game.
Darius uses ultimate there, trying to be aggressive. Thought he might be able to catch him out, but now it's on cooldown for a good 40 seconds. And, well, actually 66, seeing it tick down now. A little longer than I thought. He's not level 16 yet, so it doesn't have the really short cooldown. And this is just getting tougher and tougher for TSM. Their initiation, it's still decent, it's solid if special lands the right ultimate, but the right ultimate is going very quickly going to go from Froggen to Yellow Pete and Yellow Pete only, because if they catch Froggen now, he doesn't have Rebirth. They need a fight without the egg up. We saw it before. They just don't have enough they don't have enough chutzpah to take out Froggen, and that's huge. That is such a big problem for TSM because Froggen is doing immense amounts of damage. But even Yellow Pete, while we're singing our praise of Froggen, Yellow Pete is kicking ass right now. 303, 207, 207 CS. They're all so strong.
And that's another thing too, is the fact that Yellow Pete in that fight, even though they got down to Nivea, they're like, okay, they used all the shields on Nivea, she tanked through all the damage. Who wound up dealing the damage after that? Yellow Pete. I believe he got 2 kills back to back in that fight. He wound up taking out both members, or 2 members of TSM out of the 4 that they took down. He chased down after Darius, who's building very tanky. He has a Warmog's armor in addition to that Kindle Gem for extra HP. You know, even though he stopped off, got the Bone Tooth Necklace and the Brutalizer for some damage, Ezreal was just able to chase after him and was not afraid of Darius turning around or anything. He did have a little bit of backup there because Snoop was still hanging around, but Yellow Pete farming into of his own, and if they're focusing down on Anivia, and that's the problem, well, they still have an AD carry that they're almost completely forgetting about, who now just went back and picked up a Guardian Angel.
And I do have to question the pick of a Bone Tooth Necklace on the Darius. I mean, it is not the most efficient item now that they nerfed it. I believe now, well, actually now it's providing a little bit of extra AD. A pickaxe would be 25, Bone Tooth providing 30 at this point, but in the end, that item purchase, it's based off snowballing, and they're just not getting results. Might have been something picked up when they were behind, trying to get something done, but right now he's got 0 stacks on it.
So that's doing almost an effective nothing.
Extra 30 AD. Use the ultimate. Go ahead, initiate. Can he catch someone?
He does actually catch on to a Yellow Pete. He's going to arcade shift away. The Impale goes down on the Crepo, though. He's just going to lose the ultimate himself. Wild Goat goes off onto all members of TSM. Leo's ultimate does go down there. Darius taking a lot of damage. Wicked in the back lines of absolutely everybody. Froggen's going to take down Chaos. There goes the AD carrying the most of the damage from TSM. Double kill has been acquired by Froggen. Now flashing forward onto the odd one, trying to land the Flash Frost. There you go. You don't miss anything, do you, Froggen? Yellow Pete, though, going to be a scumbag. Take that one away. No triple kill for Froggen, but still, CLG EU just beating down on TSM. 10 kills to 2.
And this is how they want to start this off. They want to go in with a motivation. This game, I mean, TSM, they're still alive, but it's not looking like they can really recover. We might just be thinking about game 2. Because frankly, I mean, 10,000 gold difference. Inhibitor turret going down. The inhibitor won't survive this because it's special not up to 7. Chaos is down for another 8 seconds. That's not going to be enough time. Or that's going to be so much time that CLG, you can really push this down. TSM, they can't hold against that.
No, they cannot at all. As you mentioned before, it's a pretty good time to remind everybody watching at home that even though TSM is looking bleak in this game, we are in the first part of the winner's bracket. So if TSM loses this game, it's a best of 3 at this point in time. So they still have another chance to try to take it to a game 2 and 3 against CLG EU. And even if they lose out then, they get seeded into the next round of the loser's bracket, the double elimination style of the IPL 5 bracket format kicking into gear now. So even if they lose to CLG EU here, they are just going to have to wait until games tomorrow when the loser's bracket begins, so they can figure out who they're going to have to play in that one. But regardless, I mean, it is still game number 1. These are all just presumptions. TSM could come back in game 2, really shock CLG EU, and bring it to a decisive game 3. But as far as game 1 goes, as you were talking about, almost 11,000 goal differential for CLG EU. They've shut down what TSM is trying to do, and they were able to just basically, even though TSM's gotten what they want in team fights in the previous engagements, they just don't have enough damage, they don't have enough anything, farm, items, whatever it is, what it may be. CLG EU is just outclassing them in it right now, and TSM, they're going to really have to catch CLG EU screwing up to come back.
Froggen might be building a Sunfire Cape. That may not be a Sunfire Cape at the end, but he has a Chain Vest, he has a Giant Spelt. That could just be a Giant Spelt for the sake of having the extra HP, but Sunfire Cape would be hilarious. I mean, the problem is that Froggen, he's too tanky. That's something that Nivea, that if she does get the egg, if she does get tanky enough, the egg provides extra armor and magic resist. The Aegis provides that bonus too. Shen can always ultimate the egg. The Lulu Shield Lulu, well, Growth can really provide a lot of defense. And that's going to be the problem. If they can't kill Froggen, if they can't go through his egg, he can revive and just kill them all. And that's the issue. Yellow Pete survives. Froggen survives. And they can't push him down if they use all of their just hard CC that's on a long cooldown, like Impale, like Leona's ultimate. Once that's down, they're exposed. You can see their backsides, and well, CLGU, they're going to kick it hard.
So we do have CLGU taking down this second top tower, just continuing the pressure onto TSM. Of course, that bottom lane, we have had the inhibitor down already, so that is going to be pushing with super minions, as we do see a lot of them and regular minions just mounting outside of TSM's base. However, they're going to be pushing down into this mid lane, trying to clear this one out. CLG EU, they're right above them, and I don't think TSM can see them. Now they see Froggen going in. Wall goes off. Ottawa is completely caught out all by himself. Shredder's Reverie going down from Snoopy now. Ottawa being absolutely locked down. He doesn't even do anything in that fight. Wicked now jumping into the backlines. There's the wild run coming out from Blue. Snoopy is getting kind of low from Reginald bursting them down. It's not the target they want to, though. Yellow Pea actually going to get a shield. Katarina's going to wind up. Snoopy got the shields. Katarina going to be taken down by Yellow Pea. Special gets split off, and Divya is going to wind up picking up that kill. Darius in the backlines trying to do anything he can. Wicked, Snoopy, it doesn't matter. They're all low HP, but they're all still alive, and TSM just falling apart at the seams right now, Studio.
Score is 14-2. 4 members down on TSM. I mean, the first one's going to be Alwan coming
GG,
back in,
they
but
tap.
yeah, they surrender. And the surrender makes sense. They weren't going to be able to win that fight. They could not survive at that point. I mean, it was CLG EU playing that so well. The initiation from TSM, they had a plan, and CLG EU, they saw right through it. Every time TSM wanted to go for a fight, CLG's like, they're going to do these things. Let's just go ahead, plan ourselves here, we'll put the wall here, cut them off completely. And they just got shut down. Even when they got their perfect fight, it was just a little too late. And, well, they died.
Unfortunately, that was the story of the game, just a little too late for all of TSM. If we take another recap at the score screen, we can see right over here that, I mean, TSM, they had what they wanted to. They had the engagements they needed to try to get into this game. They just couldn't really connect with them. 0-3 on the odd one. He only has 1 assist. Dyrus 1-2 with no assist. There was just no team fights, so they were able to prolong enough to get assists on their champions and try to get a little bit extra gold to get back in these games. Right from the get-go. I mean, Dyrus in that bottom lane had a little bit of a hard time going up against Wicked Shem, but for the most part, kind of stayed even. Top lane, we had Chaos going up against Yellow Pete, and even though Yellow Pete 7-0 and 6 ended the game in style there, 232 CS, Corki was doing a good job staying even on CS, even was ahead of Yellow Pete in CS, but just because of the pressure from EU on the map, because Snoopy poking into lanes, doing what we saw that Odd One was doing in the game against SGS, just popping his head out, making TSM take a step back and giving his lane some breathing room. Reginald's Katarina just not able to take the aggressive stance against Froggen's and Nivea early enough, and because of that one, well, 1 and 4 kind of Katarina spells the entire story for the game, whereas 1, 5, and 9 with 12.6k richest bird in the game, and Nivea from Froggen, it's absolutely dominated TSM.
And like looking at the CS, I mean, TSM never really fell behind that far in CS. Chaos is actually ahead of Yellow Pete. And that's kind of the story of the game. They had their lanes under control. They could maintain, but they were losing ground bit by bit. Just every little space they lost, every time they lost a turret, every time they lost something, they just got closer and closer to being too far behind. But you know what? I think Game 2, we might see a ban on Nivea.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. If you ban out from Nivea, well, he's going to be a little bit upset with you, but it's going to be a good thing for your chances at winning, though. As you mentioned before, this is going to be a best-of-3 series, so CLG EU currently up 1-0 over Team Solo Mid. We're going to be getting to game number 2 in just a little bit, but until then, guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Game 2, can TSM take it to Game 3, or is CLG EU going to continue their 2-0 sweeps into the winner's bracket? We'll have to see, guys.